Hi, everyone. This is Linda. Welcome you to Single Life today. And we've got a special guest for you. Barbara Berman is going to talk to us about decluttering. And she is with, this is Bedlam to Brilliance. And she is with tell me the name of the company, Solutions.
BB's Clutter Solutions.
BB's Clutter Solutions. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I got that named properly. And super excited. It's a really great way to organize your thoughts so that you can organize your life. So having said that, I'm going to turn it over to Barbara and take it away, Barbara.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen, everybody, and we'll see how technology works, right? Okay, where are we? Here we go. And I want to do the slideshow.
Perfect.
All right. Okay, how can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. All right, so thank you, Linda, very much. I met Linda many years ago on a trip, and we've stayed in contact with each other. And I was in Colorado this summer and got a chance to see her. So that was very exciting. So thank you, Linda, for inviting me to be on this. It's nice to see everybody. This is a perfect time for us to talk about decluttering because the holidays are coming up. And if you're like most people, you've got Halloween decorations, Thanksgiving decorations, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever decorations you have. So if you didn't do anything last year, besides taking them down and putting them in boxes, this might be a good time to think about decluttering and organizing them. If you don't have holiday decorations, this process works for anything that you touch. So the way we're going to do this is I am going to go through the slides, and after each slide, we will have questions and answers. So we don't have to wait until the end. And of course, the end will have questions, Q&A, of course. There is the chat that Linda will monitor the chat, or you can raise your hand and we'll see you. And because I want to it's hard to make it as interactive as I could when we're in person, but we're going to do the best we can because Zoom has been around for quite a while now, hasn't it? And it's probably not going to leave us. So the name of the presentation is Less is More, because truly less can be more when you're dealing with all your stuff. I have a little bit of an agenda tonight. I have a goal. We're going to talk about Barbara's Brilliant Blueprint. One of the things that I had fun when I started my company about 14 or 15 years ago is everything is BB, Barbara's Brilliant Blueprint, things like that. I love the alliteration. So I wanted to have fun with all of this because I have fun organizing, but most people don't. So I like to make as much fun as possible when we're doing this. I took the word solutions. I did this because some people still work, and they can either work from home if they're still working remotely, or they go into their office. So solutions, I took that word, and I have a tip for every letter in the solutions. We'll talk about positive outcomes, and of course, there will always be Q&A. Does anybody have any questions, or are we ready to move on? Okay to move on? Good. I have a question for you. Out of all the stuff that you own, 100% of the stuff that you own, what percentage do you think you actually use? You can't give away any freebie gifts because I guess I can't.
Out of 10, maybe.
What, 10%?
10%, Mike said. Robbie, what'd you say?
I said 10 also.
10?
That would have been my number.
10? Well, it is 20.
Oh.
That's pretty close. So think about that. Think of all the stuff that you own, 80% of it you don't even use. So it's pretty interesting, isn't it? When you think about what you have in your closet, what you have in your drawers, anything like that.
But you might need it.
But you might not. Exactly. That's exactly right. You might need it. And I can't throw out that piece of wrapping paper because I might need it. Right. So that's good. And I have one other question before we get started. We all put things in very safe places, don't we?
Right.
And sometimes we can't always remember where we put them, me included.
Nope. Not always.
Right. So on the average, how much time do you spend, or do you think the majority of people spend looking for things that they know they have and they can't find?
Well, if you
Very
just moved,
little for me. I know where all my stuff is,
Okay,
so I really doesn't take me long. Once
Okay.
in a while, I have to hunt for something, but not very often.
okay. Anybody
Well,
else?
I knew where everything was before I moved in June, and now I'm not sure where anything is.
Oh, yeah, well,
No,
you
that
gotta
part
get used to a whole new system, don't you?
Yeah.
For the majority of people, it's about an hour a day. So if you,
Oh, wow.
yeah, so if you do the math,
That's a
and
lot
I
of
will tell you a
time.
story what just happened to me this week, if you don't mind me sharing, and I'd love you guys to share your stories and what some of your organizing challenges might be. And we'll make, like I said, we'll make this as interactive as we can. So if you can't find an hour a day, of course, then you're stressed because you can't find it. Times 7 days a week, times 4 weeks, times 12 months, you know, you do the math and you see how much time you waste looking for something. So I went out to lunch with a friend of mine on Monday, and we had a rush after we finished lunch. And I paid with a credit card, and I went the next day to Staples and was looking for the credit card and couldn't find it.
Mhm.
I know. So here we go. How many of you have automatic deductions? Where is this credit card? I always put it back in my wallet so I know where it is. There's my safe spot. And I thought and I thought and I thought and I thought, and I realized I must have left it at the restaurant. So I called the restaurant. Yes, they had it. So I went down to get it 10 minutes later, and they're looking for my credit card. And no kidding. They pull out a stack of credit cards.
Oh, my
about this
goodness.
thick. And I
Yep.
said to them, these are credit cards that people left. And I said, oh, I guess I'm not, you know, I felt so stupid, but look what happened. So we all do things like that. And we're hoping that whatever process or system we put into place, like my credit cards and my wallet, that it doesn't happen too often. Does anybody have a story like that to share?
I do.
Go right ahead.
It happened to me the day you and I were talking, like 2 days
Oh.
ago. It was actually that Friday. I was going away for the weekend, and I knew there was someplace I had to call. So it wasn't my credit card, but it was, you know, it's like the number that I needed to give the person I was calling. And I put it in a really safe place.
Of course.
And then when I went to call, could not find it, spent an hour looking for it,
Right.
never found it. And guess where it was? On my kitchen table that I had left at
Oh,
home.
boy.
Right.
In the very safe place that I put it when I took it out of my wallet.
Right. So we kind of have these safe places. Exactly. So thank you, Linda, for sharing that, because like, am I the only one that does this? No. Are we ready to move on? Does anybody else have anything they'd like to share?
Mine is a very insignificant thing, but I thought I had a bulb for my signal light in my car, and I know I bought a 2-pack, so I was wet. It blew out. I went today to look where I had it in the shelves in my garage. After about 15 minutes, I gave up. I said, I'll just go to AutoZone tomorrow and buy another one, another pack of 2.
And you know you're going to find them, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Sometimes it's not worth waiting.
No, I mean, you
Right.
do. You weigh
Yeah.
the cost with everything. I understand that, but it's frustrating when you know you have.
I have it, yes.
You know,
Right.
I misplaced a flip phone before I first bought a smartphone.
Wow. Mike's on mute.
I couldn't find it until for about 7 months. So I threw out the charger. I knew where the charger was. And then right after I threw out the charger, I found my flip phone.
Of
course you
Of
course.
course, of course.
That's why people are so afraid to get rid of
Get
things.
rid of anything,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, we're ready to move on. Good stories. Okay, so our goal is to become more productive, more efficient, and less stressed in your work area. And when I talk about a work area, it could be your kitchen, it could be your dining room, it could be a bedroom, it could be your desk. So the work area encompasses everything. And I found all these little pictures, and I always like these little pictures because we want to imagine that we can reach our goal. We want to believe it. And then of course, the bottom line is we want to achieve it, which makes you feel really good when you've achieved a goal. So here is my brilliant blueprint. So, and we're going to go through this, and I want you to think about something in your house or in your office that perhaps you can follow these steps, and we can talk about that. I can talk about things that I've done with my clients, and we can start sharing tips with each other if we want. So the first B is to begin to assess the situation, and you want to figure out what you want to declutter and organize. Now, Linda is starting to pack up her house, so she hopefully has more than a half hour a day. If she wants to pack up an entire room in that half hour, that's probably not going to happen. But if she has several hours in the day, she might be able to pack up the room. And a lot of times I'll say to my clients, because I work in 3 hours, 3-hour segments, always work more if my clients want to. If we're doing your garage, it's not going to get done in 3 hours. But let's take a section. Let's take a section for 3 hours, and then we'll take another section for 3 hours. And if you only have 15 minutes or a half hour in your day, do a junk drawer in your kitchen or in your bedroom or your work, because when you're assessing the situation, you also want to be very cognizant of the time that you have. The second B is to build a task list or an action plan. So when I work with my clients, for some reason, if I'm in an area, I go left to right. So I start in a corner and I work myself around. And if it's a closet, we'll start at the top. Then our next step will hanging the rods, and then perhaps the floor. So we have some kind of a plan on how to attack what we want to organize. The nuts and bolts of this is to break down the tasks. And my little acronym is SPCA. Now, for those of you who have animals, I know what that means, but it is not the Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. It is sorting, purging, containerizing, and assigning a home. So the sort portion is to put like with like. Before I forget, if you guys want a copy of this PowerPoint, Linda, I guess you can send it to them?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So, I mean,
Yeah.
feel free to take notes, do whatever you want, but if you want a copy, then Linda can send it to you. So the S is for sort, and that is where you are going to put like with like. So I'm going to use a junk drawer because I only have a half hour to an hour today to go through one of my junk drawers, and I'm going to sort it, and I'm going to see that I have 5 rolls of Scotch tape, because I didn't know that I had the Scotch tape, and I kept buying more and more Scotch tape. So I was putting all my Scotch tape together, all my paper clips together, whatever is in my junk drawer, batteries. You know what junk drawers have, a myriad of things, very miscellaneous. When you are assessing the situation, decide what you want that area to look like. So if you're using a junk drawer and you're sorting, decide what you want to keep in the junk drawer and what definitely doesn't belong there. The P stands for purge, and that does not mean always throwing out. I think, where is everybody from, by the way? I'm in New Jersey.
Maryland.
I'm on Long Island, New York.
New York.
San Francisco.
And where, Robbie?
That's not me. That was me. I'm from Georgia.
Georgia, and Linda's
Yeah.
Colorado. I was just in Maryland this weekend, Mike.
I think
So-
Margaret was San Francisco.
Who was?
Margaret, was that you?
Margaret.
Yeah.
Margaret.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just-
I don't see everybody. I'm sorry, I don't see everybody on this. Okay, so most of us are in states that are very, very environmental conscious, and I know I am. So when I work with my clients, purging, we try to keep as much as we can out of the landfills. So purging does mean throwing out, but it also means you can donate it, you can recycle, you can shred. And I know in New Jersey that anything that has a cord, anything electronics, they have to be recycled in a special way. So I take my client stuff to my town's Department of Public Works. So we're very, very careful about what goes into a landfill and what doesn't. So that's what purging means. Containerizing, the C is for containerize. Once you see how much of what you have and how much you want to keep, you want to try and put it in a little container. So if it's paper clips, maybe you just want a nice little basket or a little bowl or something. Do you need 5 bowls of paper clips? Well, if you use a lot of paper clips, maybe, but 1 bowl may be enough. And
I think find that if I put stuff in Ziploc bags in the junk drawer, they don't get back messed up again.
Okay, that's a great idea. Ziploc bags.
And they go in a drawer better than a bowl or a box.
Okay, great idea. I love getting ideas from people and I get a lot from my clients, but it's still a container. And sometimes you may want to label that container if you put something in a box or in a file folder or something. So containerizing also includes labeling. I guess if you have something that's clear, you kind of know what's in it, right? Doesn't need labeling. And so thank you for that idea. And the A stands for assign a home. So once you have sorted and you know what you're keeping and purged and put it in some kind of a container, you want to put it someplace in that very safe place that you're going to remember, correct? So just as that little picture to the right says, I finally got it all together and I forgot where I put it. So Mark, I guess you're kind of going through that being in a new house, having moved.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's hard because you kind of want to, you remember where you had it in the other place, but maybe not in this place. So, and when you assign a home, sometimes you may want to label something or write something down to remind you. These are just little tips. Some people use them, some don't. And the last B is to be persistent. So you've done all the hard work of sorting and purging, containerizing, and assigning a home. And if you don't keep this organizational system up and you don't maintain it and you're not persistent, guess what's going to happen? Becomes a mess all over again. So we try to do it. And, you know, life deals us curveballs. And if we have a very simple process in place, once the curveball gets past you, you can go back and put things away or do what you need to do to make it somewhat livable in your house. And we want the clutter. We want to control the clutter. We don't want the clutter to control us. Has anybody heard of SMART goals? Yeah, for those in corporate, and if you haven't, so this just goes along with everything that I was just talking about. We want the task at hand to be specific. We want it to be measurable. We definitely want to be able to achieve it. We want it to be realistic and timely. So back to my garage, if you only have a half hour, don't think your 2-car garage is going to get organized. I have a client, I haven't seen her in a while. COVID kind of threw us all for a loop. She used to say to me, I've been in her garage more times than you can shake a stick at. And she would just like to burn down the garage and then we wouldn't have to worry about it. But it's still there and she still has all the stuff in it. Questions on this slide? Okay, no questions. Anything in the chat or anything?
Nope.
Good, okay. How's everybody doing? Okay, so here's the question.
I said good stuff.
Okay. So here is the be persistent. And this is where I took solutions. Like I said, I kind of like to have fun with everything. A lot of this pertains to a work environment, but I also use this for my personal life or for my clients' personal lives as well. So even though it looks like it pertains just to an office environment, it really can pertain to anything else. So the first thing is to schedule time on your calendar to organize. And as crazy as that may sound, you schedule time to go to the doctor, you schedule time to play pickleball, you schedule time certainly to travel. Look, everybody's a big traveler here. So schedule some time on your calendar to organize, because once you see that on your calendar, you're likely to follow that. The O stands for opening your file drawer. So how many of you have, I'll give you examples of people that I've worked with. So I worked with a client in his business office and he had his desk, I think the files had to be this big. all over the desk. And we had to pare down, pare down, pare down, because he never put anything away, because he was afraid if he put it away that he would forget about it. But how could he find it in a pile this big if he was trying to pay a bill or whatever he was doing? So if you open your file drawer and you put something away, you're more likely to be able to find it. The L is leave room on your workspace, and that can be your computer workspace, because we all have the computer workspaces, and it can also be the desk that you're working on, or the table, or the kitchen counter, wherever you are. If it's totally covered, again, how are you ever going to find anything? The U stands for use one calendar. So it doesn't matter to me. My clients say, well, should I use my phone? Should I use a calendar? Should I use a planner? And I say to them all the time, whatever works for you. I use a planner because I am forever crossing out and doing things. That's how I like to keep my dates. But most people use their phones, but whatever works for you. Another story, I had a client who, wherever she went shopping, she would buy a planner because nothing ever worked for her. And finally, she has 3 kids, and she went shopping with them, and she stopped to look at planners. And one of her kids said to her mom, no more planners in this house. I think we found 8 when we were decluttering. So she had things all over the place. And if you have a family, you need to have one calendar so that you can all look to see what's going on. The T stands for tame your desk supplies. So we've got pens, we've got pencils, sort of like that little drawing on the slide. We've got the scissors, you've got staple removers, staples, butterfly clamps, all that kind of stuff. But it's the same thing with any kind of a supply that you have. So I'm working with a client now who had to go to California to help her sister with her mother moving there. And she didn't have a whole lot of stuff. And she told me she had 5 pairs of socks. So she came back. I'm outside of Philadelphia, New Jersey, and I'm working with her in Philly. And we started working together, and she had 3 drawers of socks. So I said, well, could you pare it down to 1 drawer of socks? Because you only needed 5 in California. So why do you have 3 drawers here? So we got it down to 2 drawers, and I'm sure it's still at 2 drawers of socks. So when we talk about taming our supplies, we also want to keep reminding ourselves, what's our goal? Our goal is only to have 10 pairs of socks. Our goal is only to have 2 pairs of scissors, whatever it is. So we want to tame our supplies. The I is implement to-do lists. Anybody? You guys use to-do lists?
I always do.
Yeah.
Okay. Have any of you done something that's not on the to-do list and you put it on the to-do list so that you can cross it off?
Oh, yeah. Doesn't everybody?
Yeah, of course, because you want to see how much you've achieved. I know, it's great.
Yep.
Now, I did tell Linda the story when we were practicing the other day that I did have a client who, well, he hadn't slept in his bed for 7 years. This was one of my first clients that had a hoarding disorder, and that doesn't apply to any, doesn't matter. The point of the story is, on his bed, because he had no room on his bed, he had enough to-do lists to sink a ship. So we just kind of put them in a big box because he had to go through them to see if he had done his to-dos. But I'm working with another client who was an editor of the Philadelphia Magazine, and he lives in Philly, and he teaches journalism and everything like that. And he has a million to-do lists too. But we go through them and he checks everything off because he's done it, and the to-do list can go away. So we all seem to have them, and we all seem to add things to them and feel good when we can cross them out. The O stands for overcoming your fear of recycling and shredding. So in the beginning, people are still afraid to throw things out, aren't they? But again, we want to keep things out of the landfill. We can recycle. I don't want to assume anything, but everybody who gets their mail, their recycling goes into a bucket right away, as opposed to having it sit around. Well, I have clients that have it sit around. Shredding is another big thing. The little shredders that you get in Staples may not always work, but I think most communities have free shred days, or you have companies that either come to your house or you can take it someplace.
I just rip myself.
Pardon me?
Just rip it.
Yeah, people do that too, or people have stamps where you stamp out, I know
Mhm.
for me, if I get something with my name on it, I can recycle it. But I have clients, anything that has their name on it, like on a magazine, they'll rip off the address label and throw it away. So I'll work with whatever works for my clients. And you guys need to do whatever works for you. There's no right or wrong. And, organizing is, nothing's cast in stone. If it doesn't work, you tweak it. But it's certainly easier to tweak a process than to develop it. And then it doesn't work, so you redevelop it and you redevelop it, and then you'll never find anything because you're not tweaking what you started out with.
Mhm.
The N stands for, now the other thing I wanted to say is with all of this, whether you're working with manual files or whether you're working with files on your computer, because your computer files are really just, should have the same names like we're going to talk about right now as what's in a file cabinet. So I have files on my computer and I have files in a file drawer. So you want to name your files so they are easy to remember and to find. So if you have a file that says auto insurance, and then you start another file that says insurance-auto, you've got two files. So the best thing is to try and remember, make it easy so that you're able to find it. A lot of clients, all they want to do is put their files in alphabetical order, and that works and they can find it. A lot of my clients want to put all their insurance together and all their financials together and all their credit cards together. So it's really a system that works for you and that you can follow. And the final S is to select a time of day when you'll manage your emails. Now, that's really hard because I don't know about you guys, but especially with our phones, you can check email a bazillion times a minute. But when you're working on a project or you're doing some organizing, select the time of day when you'll manage your emails. So maybe I look at my emails first thing in the morning because if I need to answer something, I want to make sure I answer the person right away because I don't know if something came in overnight. But maybe you'll do it at 9 o'clock and then you'll work in the morning and then you'll do it at noon. But do what works for you. And if when the little ding comes, if that's going to make you want to look, turn the ding off so that you're not distracted. Because when you're distracted and you get back to the project, it's going to take you a little bit longer to get back into doing things. So I have a question for you guys before do you have any questions? Then I have a question for you. No questions?
No.
Oh my goodness gracious. This is a meeting that's going to end early, huh? What do you guys?
Well, I do have, I don't know if it's a question or not, but I'm like I said, I know where everything is. My big problem is the computer documents. I have so many that I can't remember the names. I do put them in alphabetical order, and when I'm looking for something, I just have to go down the list, and I have just lots and lots of stuff that's saved on the computer, and I really need to clean it out.
Okay, and that's another organizing project. So I would put them in, I don't know what kind of files you have. Can you put them in, when you put a file together, I don't know what kind of documents they are.
Anything that you think of.
All right, so you have
know,
your,
like if I have an airline itinerary, I'll save it. If I have a special at a place with coupons, I'll save that. And then I forget, sometimes half the time I forget to use them. And then they get old, and then I don't remember which ones are new and which ones old. I have to open everything. It takes forever. That's the only thing that I have that just really takes me a long time. And I
Okay.
just have a fear. So they just accumulate instead of me getting rid of them.
Right. So in a situation like that, maybe you want to have a file, and this could be for anybody on this call. Maybe you want to have a file folder you call coupons, and you put them in there. So you go in there and then, but you have to remember to go in there and delete the ones that have expired. Just like you would throw away a paper coupon, you want to delete your coupon that you've gotten online. For vacations, for airline itineraries, because I like to travel as well, and I have a folder on my computer that says vacations or trips, And then under that, I have subfolders and I have all the trips that I've gone on. And if I have an airline ticket or anything like that, I throw it in the folder that goes with that trip. And car rentals and hotel reservations and all that goes into the
Yeah.
folder on my, as opposed to putting things in alphabetical order. Questions on any of this?
Well,
No,
that,
Mark? No, good, thank you. All right, well, we always have to have some positive outcomes, don't we? And as you see the little picture there, it says success, yay. So it reduces stress. We've talked a little bit, a couple of things already about this. It reduces stress because you're not spending all this time looking for something. And isn't it always the time when you're looking for something and you're running late? I don't know, it's a Murphy's Law. What do you guys do when you come into the house with your keys, your phone, your wallet? Where do the keys go?
They stay
Special
in my
spot.
purse.
Wait, I didn't,
A special
Yeah.
spot in my purse, a particular
purse.
pocket.
okay, okay.
jacket pocket.
Jack, oh, you keep it, okay, you keep them in your pocket in your purse. Oh, interesting, okay. Margaret, Susan, Linda,
On the counter next to my purse.
okay,
I have a ledge as you walk in, so everything goes on there. Then I
Okay.
sort it out later.
okay, good. Does it ever get piled up?
I try not to let it, no. I try to take care of it right away, especially my keys.
Well, big thing, exactly.
Yes, 'cause
exactly.
sometimes I have had to spend some time looking for them.
Because we walk in the house and we put them down because you've got, your hands are full and you've got groceries and your briefcase and what books and, you know, we come in with more things than we go out with. And I'm going to remember I put my keys, and then of course you don't because you go on to the next task. I have a hook by my front door. So whatever works for people, but keys, oh, my keys and phones, they're the worst.
Mhm.
My phone and my keys stay in my purse. My phone stays on my person all the time.
Okay, all right, so good, that's good. You save money. And by this, I mean, when you start an organizing project, and I strongly suggest don't buy anything to organize because you don't know what you're going to be left with. You don't know how much of anything you're going to want. You're not even going to know where you're going to put it, where the stuff is, where whatever you want to organize is going to fit. And it could be the wrong color, wrong size, wrong everything. So wait until you see what kind of a receptacle you may need before you go out and buy anything. And a lot of times when you start emptying bins and boxes and little containers, you find that you've got a whole bunch of things left over. So one of the things I did personally is I had to go through, how many people have trouble with clothes?
With what? I didn't heir you.
Clothes, your clothes. Things
I
hanging-
have so many clothes. I've had clothes for 40 years.
Yeah, or well, if they're in good shape and you wear them, that's great. So I hired a colleague of mine, a friend and a colleague, and I paid her to help me go through my closet. Because one, everything still fit in my closet. And two, I knew if I started to try on clothes, they weren't going to fit. And that was going to be depressing. So I thought if I was paying somebody, I had stake in the ground and I was going to go through my closet. So I had about 4 or 5 bags of clothes. She asked me the quintessential question that I ask my clients, are you going to go through these bags when I leave? And I said, well, no, I just went through all this work. No, I'm not going to do that. But what I found is I didn't need to buy any hangers. So I saved money on hangers because I thought I need hangers. I have all these clothes. I need to hang them up. So there's a story of saving some money.
Well, one of the problems with clothes is when you go on these cruises, especially, you have dress ups. So I saved outfits for dress up for like 1800s, for the 60s, the 50s, you know what I'm saying, all these different kinds of outfits, they take up a lot of space.
Well, yeah, they do, but you use them, right? And you have room
Yeah,
for them?
once in a blue moon though, because how often do you have 1890s?
Well, I've
Once
never.
every 10 years. So,
But you don't want to get rid of it and you have room, correct?
yeah, but it just makes it hard to navigate through all that stuff.
So can you put these kinds of things in an area that I'll call it valuable real estate, because it's not something that you get into your closet all the time to get, but maybe there's a storage area in your basement or the back of your closet or to one side of your closet. So it's far away from anything that you use all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up, because one of the things that I talk about also is valuable real estate. So I have a crock pot. Actually, I think I have two, and they've been in my basement for years. Well, I have a basement, so that's good and bad. But I have a very small kitchen. So if I had a crock pot on my kitchen counter, I would have no room at all to prepare food. So I'm able to put that someplace, and my kitchen counter is free. So that's valuable real estate to me. So I do that in my kitchen, and you can do that with clothes. Things that you want to keep, and you've got room for, they don't need to be intermingled with the things that you use all the time.
Oh, okay.
So this brings us to, it simplifies your life. So you're not weeding through things. You're not, I have room to chop vegetables if I want to, because I don't have a crock pot taking up all the room. The other thing that it brings you a certain amount of freedom. So rather than spending all that time looking for things, you find what you have and you go. And it gives you, because you've got this freedom now, it gives you the time to pursue the things that you really want to pursue, doing the things that you really want to be able to do. And I think what really is important, what's really the key here is it helps you figure out what's important. Because, and I say this all the time to my clients, it's not really the stuff. It's really truly what I think is going on in your heart and what's going on in your head. So hopefully when you're decluttered and organized, that you have figured out what's really important in your life. Any questions on this?
I just wanted to address something that Robbie was saying with all the clothes that you have, especially if you've had for a long time. If you go back and go through some of those clothes, I know I found sometimes they're stained, things have disintegrated, they're not what you thought they were. So, and sometimes if you have multiple things for a theme, you can maybe just keep one, or something that you really haven't used in a long time, it might be worth getting rid of. And then if you need it in the future, get something simpler. I have found things I've saved, and when I looked at them years later, I don't like, why was I saving this?
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, because sometimes we save them at a certain point in our life for a reason, but when that point leaves, that's great. Thank you for bringing that up. So we saved it because it was sentimental. We saved it because it was something that we really liked. And then you go back, it's like, well, geez, why do I need that for? It's great when even in my own life, it's like, oh, good, the elastic is gone, so I'm going to throw this thing out. Oh, really? How did I get a stain on this? And all of a sudden it appears, the elastic goes, the stain shows up. So those are very, hopefully they're easy decisions for people to make. But, and it's true with memorabilia. Memorabilia is huge with people. Pictures, how many people have pictures? Not only do you have them on your phone, oh, you've got them in boxes, and you've got them in albums. And do you digitize them? Do you keep them in the albums? Do you? Oh my goodness gracious. So, we all have this kind of stuff. And then somebody dies in your family and that stuff comes to your house. So now you've got two households. That one was enough. Now you've got two households. So, organizing it's interesting. I mean, you're never, when I say gives you a certain amount of freedom to do the things you want, but you're never free from organizing, because you want that freedom to do the things that you want. Any tips? Does anybody have any questions on positive outcomes?
I just have a quick story, and then part of that is it would be a tip. So for years I had a shoe closet, just a closet for shoes. And I had hundreds of shoes, about 90% of them black. And I had a friend who
Yep.
kept saying, you got to get rid of those shoes. And I was like, no, they're part of my family. I can't get rid, they're all my babies. But they were all in shoe boxes. So I didn't even know what I had. So here's my tip is, and you use this as well, is have a friend come and help you. So he came over and he would hold up the shoe and, the woman like, does this bring you joy? That thing. It wasn't just, does this bring you joy? He's like, do you wear these? And it was probably 75% of them were, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Like that, they were just hideous shoes that I just couldn't let go. Till finally and now I have like 10 pairs of shoes that I wear religiously, and that's what I keep. That's all I have.
Oh my God, how do you get rid of them? I take 10 pair of shoes with me on a cruise.
Yeah, I just, because a lot of them were business shoes and I'm not in business anymore. And if I'm touring, if I'm concierging, I wear certain, work shoes. And then I got my workout shoes, my hiking shoes, and my bike shoes. So,
Right.
But don't you have black and tan and gray?
nope, they're all black.
Well, see, I wear tan and gray, and I don't like black with that. So I have to have at least those three. And then every once in a while, you want to have a red or a yellow or some gold.
Yeah. Got
For
rid of all of them.
special occasions, for special outfit. You have to have it. But there are shoes in my closet that I bought and I've never worn.
Oh, there's a lot of, when I go through closets of clients of mine, there's enough tags sometimes to sink a ship.
And
they
I
say,
really need to get rid of, I hate to waste money. I don't like wasting money. So I say, well, these are really cute and they look really great. But, I never find an occasion that I need them. And they're like middle-sized heels with flowers, and stuff like that. And special ones I got from like China or somewhere, and they're really beautiful, but they go with nothing. So I guess I need to, I do go through. The last time I went through my shoe closet, I got rid of 6 pair. That's nothing.
that is
I
nothing.
just say, I might need this, I might need this. I can give this to somebody, I can give these to somebody, but I never do.
That's why you need somebody to come help you. It makes a big difference.
It helps if you can't do it by yourself. And there's organizers, there's like 3,000, 4,000 of us running around the country. So if you need an organizer, or sometimes, like I've worked with clients virtually, they have to do all the legwork, but we work virtually on a Zoom call and it's just one-on-one. The other thing is set a timer if you only have, because you hate doing it so much. Set it for a half hour. And if you, after a half hour, you're done, great. You've achieved your goal. If you want to continue, you can continue.
But the thing is, it's not that I don't go through there. I'll say, well, I might need this, I might need that, I might need this, and I never get rid of them. And same with purses. I have purses and shoes.
Okay, I have our next event. We're going to do a Zoom call and help Robbie clean out her closets. You're going to hold up each person, each pair of shoes, and we're going to ask you questions, and you're going to either donate or keep.
Right.
That would be
Now,
fun.
here's another thing. I go by the in-out rule. So when you bring something in, at least one thing has to go out. So I hadn't bought shorts in a really long time, and we were down in South Carolina. We went to an outlet, a Columbia outlet, and I said, oh, these are really nice shorts. I have crappy shorts. I wanted new shorts. So I came home with 3 new pairs of shorts, and I was so proud of myself. I got rid of 5 pairs of shorts.
Good.
That was even more than one-on-one.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it. And then the stuff, it fits in your drawers and it fits in your closet, and you're not smushing things together. Let me tell you something about shoes. And I don't know, do you guys have DSW near you?
Mhm.
Yeah, we do.
All right. So I found out the DSW, where I live in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, they collect shoes for Souls for Souls. And the way I know about this, and I don't know, I just went online for where I could donate. And so I just put in my area. So that was a really good thing. Souls for Souls collect shoes for disadvantaged people, people in Haiti who have no shoes. And we our NAPO, I belong to the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals. And several years ago, we had a contest between all of the chapters in the United States. And I swear, I thought our chapter did the best. We had storage units in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware. They were filled to the brim, and we came in fourth.
Wow.
I would do workshops and I would make sure that please bring your shoes in. My car was packed with shoes. Everybody else's car was packed with shoes, and we came in fourth. It's like, oh, darn. But still.
But that was a good thing if they had that many giving them out. I give a lot of stuff to Mission. We have a mission that's not
Good.
too far away.
Excellent.
And some of these women that leave quickly, don't take everything with them and they need things. So
I know I have a
Barbara,
contact
can
for
I
a
ask
women's shelter. I'm sorry.
Yeah, can I add something? When you're talking about organizers, what is the range of costs with that? It's something I've never looked into, and I was just curious because you were speaking of that.
You know what? It depends on the area. It depends.
I'm in
how
the
much-
Philadelphia area.
You're in the Philadelphia area?
Yeah,
Oh, where do you live?
in Havertown.
Oh,
And
yeah. Well, oh boy. So
well, I
it
mean, just like a general range. I
it
was
can range from $50 to $100.
an hour.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Like I have package plans, so the more hours that you book, the better the fee is. But it's a lot of when I work with my clients, I also hear lots of stories. And we're not therapists by any stretch of the imagination, but lots of things come out. So it's emotional sometimes when you're going through things.
oh
The
yeah.
the newer organizers might charge, it's really hard because we don't talk. If I talk one-on-one with an organizer, we can share what our rates are, but because of all the rules and regulations, you don't want to set your fees and you don't want to be low while people are high, so more people will hire you. Business is kind of funky like that. So yeah, people are the rate, I would say anywhere from 50 to 100,
Okay.
but somebody could be 40 and somebody could be 55. I have my rates on my website just because, which is really funny because at one point when I started my business, I didn't have them on my rates on my website. Then I said, well, this is crazy. Just put them on I want to know if I were checking out this, I would want to know what rates are.
Oh.
And then when people call, could you tell me what your rates are? And I just laugh because they're right there, but I'm always happy to go through everything. So yeah, it's a big range.
I've found that, for instance, you mentioned when your relatives pass away, your elderly relatives pass away, suddenly you're inheriting some of their things, some of their heirlooms that they treasured, and what are you going to do with them? And what I did recently is I sold a number of items on eBay to somebody. It was a collection of steamship company ashtrays from the 1950s and 1960s.
Wow.
And I thought, there's only one of those I really want to save. The rest of them are just kind of nice. But, I don't have any kids. What am I going to do? My nephews don't want that stuff. So I sold them on eBay, and I probably paid as much in shipping as I made selling them. But it made me feel good because I didn't throw them in the dumpster. And they went to someone who had an email address that had like steamship stuff in his email name, actually.
Wow.
So I thought, they found a good home. I didn't have to put them in a dumpster. So that's another alternative, for getting rid of things. If you're afraid to part with something, especially if it's a relatives, you could say, well, you found a good home. Sometimes we have old heirlooms that are antiques that museums want, actually. I've donated a couple of things to museums, including the Smithsonian, actually.
Yeah, I donated a few things to the National Historical Society here, and the Atlanta Historical Society. When my aunt died, some really old stuff that was in her attic. And then what we did was we gave a lot of stuff away and donated a bunch of stuff. And then, of course, I had stuff too here, but.
It's, I think we feel so much better when we can give it away. eBay is great if you want to do that. Donating to the Historical Society, that's a great idea. I hadn't even thought of that. There are online auction companies, if you want to go with something like that, like Max Sold, that's national, MAXSOLD. There are, see, because of COVID, there used to be like auction houses and everything. It depends on where you live and whether they're around. Everything has been
Oh, yeah.
very glitchy since COVID. But there's eBay, there's Facebook Marketplace. So there's
next
avenues
door.
to do it.
In the large cities, we have communities like in our county that has marketplace in the county.
Oh, that's
And-
good.
And you can just put stuff on the Facebook under that marketplace for the county and then come pick it up.
Yeah, that's
know.
great. That's good.
And if you have the next door app, you're selling to your neighbors, which is nice.
Next door, yeah, we have all those things. So there's so much that you can do online.
I find with myself though, like my son finally moved out and I'm trying to clear out 2 rooms that he used. And I'm coming across a lot of stuff, but I still work, I'm a licensed social worker. And I just find that I don't want to be bothered like doing all that. I admire the fact that people have energy to want to sell stuff and have people meet people and all that stuff. But my thing is, I would never get to doing that with all these items, that I would rather just get rid of it all. But that's where I get stopped though, because I get hung up with trying to move forward with, like, I don't want to be bothered with Facebook things and meeting people and setting up appointments and all that. But then on the other hand, I'm not moving forward with giving it to Green Drop or one of these charities either.
So that's why it's good to work with, I'm not saying to hire somebody, but if you have a friend where maybe you and your friend can help each other do something like that, because when you set time aside to work with somebody, it's sort of like whatever you do in life. If there's somebody that's is depending on you to do something, you're more likely to show up. So maybe having somebody around, whether it's a professional or whether it's just a friend or a relative, sometimes a little hard with friends and relatives because they'll say throw it out and you don't want to throw it out. But having somebody around truly helps. And what you're saying is a lot of what my clients say. I'm stuck. I can't move on. I can't clear out this room. I don't want it. I don't have the time to put it on eBay or any of Facebook Marketplace. I just want it out of here.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
these are-
always do a garage sale.
That takes a lot of work.
Yeah, I did that a couple years ago, and actually in the end, the amount of time and energy put into that
Yeah, it's
did
not worth
not net the amount of money I made. Like, I filled up my gigantic Highlander like to the rim with the stuff in the end and took it to Green Drop. So yeah, for me anyway, that
Yeah, and it's exactly, a lot of people do it because they want to sit outside with their friends and, chit chat all day while they try and sell things. So, but it is a lot of work. Garage sales are a lot of work.
Well, we are coming to the witching hour.
We are.
So any last questions or comments for Barbara?
This is my contact
Excellent.
information, if anybody wanted it.
Yeah, if you want to get in touch with Barbara, have any other questions, feel free to reach out. But thank you so much. This was really, I think, very beneficial, and that was some really
Thank
great
you.
questions. And like I said, I'm in the process of packing, and I actually really only have one room. It's just my clothes because I've already decluttered everything else. But it's just a matter of figuring out what I'm taking and what I'm not. So this was helpful to me. So hopefully it was helpful to everyone else as well. And
I'm
I am
glad you
going.
all came. Thank you.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you. Very interesting.
Thank you.
So on behalf of Single Life Today on the Singles Travel International site. So thank you all for finding us, because I know we're changing platforms a little bit. So I appreciate everybody finding us on the singlestravelintl.com site. And I am going to stop recording.